Sports fans, we are live. Welcome to the Sports Behavior Podcast. Live here on a December 10th, 2021. I'm your host, OG the Beast. As always with me, Uncle Chilltown 32. What's poppin', Unc?
It's Friday night, man. We in the barbershop. I just got a fresh cut, so I'm listening to my dudes, talking about basketball. That's what we talking about tonight, so let's get it.
No doubt.
No
You know,
doubt.
Fridays, barbershop Fridays. Y'all know how we get down on Fridays. We like to spend a little bit of time and engage with the fan base. We love how y'all come in here. Hey, if you on YouTube watching us, these segments, they go live on Twitch every Tuesday and Friday night, and they will be on YouTube the following day. So if it's live on a Tuesday, we going on YouTube on Wednesday. If we live on a Friday night, Saturday morning, it will be up on YouTube. Please drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And welcome to the show, man. We here to talk sports with y'all. We love to have y'all here. I see some regulars in the building. Shout out to Reese, too. Shout out to Ball Rat. Those are regulars. Jay Flocks is a regular. He just subscribed to the Twitch. Y'all should follow suit, man. If y'all
Love you, brother.
support us, man, drop us a gifted sub. Appreciate that for the gifted sub,
Come
man.
through. No doubt.
You awesome for that, man.
No doubt.
Appreciate that. He said he loved a podcast. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got a pretty packed show for y'all. Interesting topic. We're gonna talk some Steph Curry. We're gonna talk some Draymond Green. We're gonna talk some defenders. Speaking of Draymond Green, he was on this podcast talking about he might be the best defender of his era. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into guys that are also underperforming this year. Who should be playing better? We got a lot of stuff to get in today, but to kick the show off, unfortunately, we had a unfortunate situation happen. Was it today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Where All-Pro Demaryius Thomas passed away, right? And the thing about this is, I don't know all the details on the situation, but DT was my dog. Rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas. I never forget when Demaryius Thomas got drafted. It's like me and my boy Mike Beasley, RIP to DT in the chat. RIP to DT in the chat, man. Real talk. Because DT was a real one. He was a dog. He was a straight animal. If you don't know who Demaryius Thomas is, he was like a 5-time All-Pro. This guy was a great asset to those Denver Broncos teams that went on that run in like the mid to early 2010s. And from 2012 on up, DT was great. Even when he had Tim Tebow as his quarterback, and that's not easy to say. You got Tim Tebow as your quarterback, a guy who was known to be a run-first type of cat, really couldn't throw the ball as well. Denver was winning games with 8 pass attempts, and DT had caught 4 of the 8 pass attempts from Tim Tebow. He was a straight animal, like 5 consecutive seasons of over 1,200 yards, double-digit touchdowns every single one of those seasons with Peyton Manning outside of one. Close to a triple crown one year where he had over 1,400 yards and led the league in touchdowns. Like, the dude was a straight animal. DT was a dog, and I remember me and my boy Mike Beasley, shout out to Mike Beasley, he used to always go back and forth over who was the best 88. We'll be playing Madden, I'll be having DT, I'll be having the Broncos, he'll play with the Cowboys, and he'd be like, man, Dez is the best 88. I'm like, nah, man, DT is the best 88. That's my dog. You gonna see. Now, he had that ACL injury in college. Everybody doubted him, but he was nothing short of excellent when he got his opportunity. When a real quarterback walked through that door, he got to showcase his talent and his ability with Eric Decker on the other side. So all prayers go out, condolences to his family and anybody that was closely related and affected by this tragic incident. But when I get some further news, I'll be sure to report it on TikTok because I feel like if DT wasn't celebrated while he was here, the least we can do is give him his flowers now. So if y'all don't know who Demaryius Thomas is, I suggest you do your research, look up some highlights, go look up that catch he did, when they, in the first round of the playoffs to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers that was projected to go all the way that year in overtime. Tim Tebow, simple 8-yard slant, DT took it to the house. Couldn't nobody catch him. So shout out to DT, man. Sad to see you go, but you was my dog. And if I never gave you your flowers live on any situation that was publicly speaking, I'm sorry it happened now, but better late than never, right?
Yeah, man. I I just think it's corny when it happens like this, man. I know that, it's difficult to talk about, but when it happens like this, a guy 33 years old, he still has so much more life ahead of him, as a man, as opposed to a football player. He had so much more life ahead of him. And for him to go like this, even though, we don't know what happened, but for him to go this early is really unfortunate, man. And I knew a little bit about DT because I wasn't really paying as much attention to him as I should have.
Yeah.
I will say that, Beast. I wasn't paying as much attention to him as I should have. But, he was obviously an elite wide receiver. I mean, we're talking about catching a walk-off touchdown in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
A walk-off touchdown in the playoffs. We're talking about a dude who, once Peyton Manning walked in the door, you think I'm nice now? Now that I got this dude, okay, you about to really see what I'm not. You about to really see what I'm about. So there's a reason why Peyton Manning was throwing 40 touchdowns and 50 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It was largely due to this dude right here, man.
Yeah.
And it's real unfortunate that he ain't around no more to hear about how good he really was. So
yeah,
I will say, Demaryius, man, you apparently, if people don't know, you are absolutely awesome, my man. No question about it.
No doubt about it. And I mean, you say, you really wasn't keeping your eye on DT. I mean, he was kind of overshadowed. He was in an era that had AJ Green at the top of his game, that had guys like Brandon Marshall, guys like Alshon Jeffrey that was putting in the statement into the league. Jordy Nelson was balling at the time. You had guys like
Fitzgerald.
You had guys like Fitzgerald. You had guys like, it was a lot of great premier Megatron. It was a lot of great wide receivers that was at that time. It was very easy to let Demaryius Thomas slip through the cracks, but he was one of my favorite guys, and I had a man crush on DT. And it's just a tragic situation. But on to something a little bit more positive, right? Rest in peace to DT, but on to something a little bit more
like
positive.
DT, I'll see you when I get there, brother, if I ever get there.
Yeah. Hey, we all going to get there, and I'll see you when I get there. No doubt about it.
Yes, sir, brother.
But Stephen Curry, right? He's been on a roll as of late. We know what Stephen Curry has been doing for the Golden State Warriors. Like everybody, one of my boys asked me today, shout out to my man Cardell. Me and him was having a conversation about Stephen Curry. He was like, man, he is just leading these boys. Like, who the hell is Jordan Poole? Like, he is just leading these boys to victory week in or night in and night out. It's like, Steph Curry is that dude. And now he's on the verge of breaking Ray Allen's record, like 2,900 threes. Think about it, 2,900 threes. Almost double the games, too. Like, the man has been amazing, revolutionized the game when it comes to the three-point position. But, I mean, a three-point shot, especially from a small guard like Stephen Curry, somebody who primarily has to live from that area on the court. He figured out to do it at an efficient rate, which is the most important aspect of it. But he only needs 9 more threes to tie, 10 to break. And everybody's predicting that he may do this on Saturday against his brother in Philadelphia, right? But the real question is, after he breaks his three-point record, what does this do for his legacy? Does this change anything by putting him in the top 10? Does it catapult him over a certain player that, because a lot of people, believe it or not, have Steph Curry over Kevin Durant on the all-time players list. I don't. I think Kevin Durant is ahead of Steph Curry. You do?
I do.
You do. Okay, I don't. I think Kevin Durant has accomplished more than Steph Curry at this juncture in both of their careers. But a lot of people have them. So I want to ask you, Unc, what does this do for Steph Curry's legacy and his career as a whole if he were to accomplish this feat? I mean, it's pretty inevitable at this point.
Well, we already knew that he was going to do this last year. We knew that he was going to do this 2 years ago, that he was on the pace to do that. So we already knew that this was something that was inevitable. Not to mention, the talk was 5 years ago that he was the greatest shooter of all time. This is the greatest shooting backcourt of all time. So this isn't news that he is that guy. Now, once he achieves this, I don't think it's going to change. All it's going to do is just solidify that he's that guy. Now, in terms of moving him into the top 10, in terms of moving him into the top 10 players of all time, we're not there yet. And the reason why we're not there yet is because we still have to do a little bit more. Well, damn, how much more does he have to do? Well, I would like for you, Steph Curry, to be the best player in the championship series. I'd like to see you do that. I think that's very important to me. You as a long ball shooter, that goes without saying. I'm looking at a dude who, after he breaks this record, and just so you know, Beast, we only a little over a month into the season. We're looking at a dude who he could very well have close to 3,500 by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He could very well have not even 3,500, over 3,000 before the season ends. And I still think that he has 2 or 3 more years at this level. And then he's going to move into something completely different in another 3 years, right? So I don't think that this is a record that's going to get touched.
It's funny you say that because I want to piggyback off of that, but go ahead. Remember that.
I don't think this is a record that's going to get touched. But when I think about him in terms of him moving into the top 10, the thing that's the most important to me, right? The thing that's the most important to me, I'd like to see him be the best player in the championship series. I think that's the only thing, because if that happens, we can no longer just speculate. We have to have this conversation.
I think he was the best player on the floor in 2015.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And the reason why I'm asking you that, and the reason why I'm mentioning that is because I want you to take the finals MVP out. All right? I don't want to talk about the finals MVP. Who in the 2015 series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who was the best player in that series?
LeBron.
Okay, that's my point right there, Beast.
Oh, you want him to be the best player in the whole series, not just on this team.
I ain't talking about you being the best player on the team. I don't care about the finals MVP. I'd like to see you as the best player. Who was the best player in that series last year between Phoenix and Milwaukee?
Giannis.
Who was the best player in that series between Toronto and Golden State?
I'll give it to Kawhi.
And that's what I'm asking from you as an all-time great player. If we're talking about moving you into that stratosphere, because when we talk about the top 10 players, Beast, we're talking about a level where you are it's gonna be hard to touch you. Yeah. It's going to be very difficult to touch you. So I would love to see him do that. Now, as far as him being an overall shooter and score, that goes without saying. But for the most part, for me, we talking about a dude who shooting the long ball the way he shoots it and the attention that he garners. I did say Saturday, Beast, that he was getting it. I don't think he's getting it tomorrow because I'm having a tough time with him making 10 threes against that Philadelphia defense. I think Thibault going to be chasing him all over the place. True. And it's going to be tough for him to hit. I think it's done by the time next week when you and me talking about this. I think it'll be done by next week. I don't think we're going to be having this conversation.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. By Tuesday it'll be done.
I think it'll be done, but I think I gotta walk back my prediction that it was going to be Saturday because I thought that he was going to give me more against the Trailblazers. He gave me 6 threes. I thought he was going to give me 8, maybe 9.
That's his average
against
though.
them.
That's his average.
That's right where he's average set. But to answer your question, Beast, I don't think that he's there yet. If I could see him be the best player in the championship series, we got to start talking about this dude as a top 10 player all time. We have to.
Okay. To piggyback off your statement earlier, but I8678 asked a great question. He said, who's a better scorer, Bron or Kobe? To intervene the show to answer that question, I think it's Kobe. And I don't really think it's close. Even though Bron has compiled a lot of points, when I think of best scorers, I think of the way you score the basketball, the variation of ways that you can create your own shot. I think LeBron James I don't want to call him challenged because he's far from challenged, but he's more limited than Kobe is. Kobe's going to shoot a contested 2 or contested 3. If it was a 4-point line, he'd take that shot over anybody. He doesn't care. He's got ice in his veins, which is why LeBron is a more efficient scorer than Kobe Bryant. Also, Kobe takes more jump shots than LeBron, but I think Kobe Bryant is a better scorer than LeBron. It's just LeBron scored more points due to being an efficient scorer for so long. You're going to generate all of those points. Now, that people say LeBron is pass first, and to try to disrespect him as a scorer would be cruel, would be foul. But I don't think LeBron is a better scorer due to the variation of moves that Kobe can go to when he wants to. Tween cross, one dribble pull up. You know, Kobe can get to the basket with either hand. Kobe can take you to the block, post fade, reverse pivot. He's got any move, any
Footwork.
way to score the ball possible, Kobe can do that. I can't say that
Absolutely.
for LeBron James. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I can. Well, I can. And the reason why I can is because I watched his game develop over the course of his career, and the things that he had, he enhanced those things. So he enhanced the long ball. So for you to sit there and say that he wouldn't shoot the three with somebody in his face, like he wasn't on the Madhouse on Madison Avenue in 2015 and cracked that three to end the game. I can't believe you said that.
You really reached for that? You reached for that.
I can't believe you said that with a straight face.
Did you really reach for that? You gonna do me like that?
I can't believe you said that with a straight face. Like, this dude don't shoot contested threes with people in his face.
Okay, look, if LeBron James had that type of attitude every single time he stepped on the floor, the comparisons to Mike would be more comparable. That they become uncomparable because of his lack of aggression, his lack of killer instinct. But on that
How
possession,
is that possible, though,
let me tell you, on that particular possession that you brought up, if you talking about the corner three over Jimmy Butler, right, for the game.
Game over.
Right, look. If y'all don't remember, David Black called a play in which LeBron James had to inbound the ball on that possession because the play wasn't drawn up for LeBron. And correct. LeBron finally put his nuts on the concrete and said, I'm not inbounding this ball. Somebody else inbound this ball because I'm taking this damn shot. I don't know what the hell you talking about, but I'm shooting the shot. And he stepped up and he made the shot. So I give him kudos for that. But Jimmy Butler wasn't draped all over LeBron. It was kind of all of a sudden catch and shoot. It was a great shot. I give him that. But it wasn't that shot Kobe took in Toronto over three defenders on a three-point line in consecutive back-to-back-to-back threes. It wasn't nothing like that. Sheer ice in his veins. It wasn't off one leg fading away at the top of the key like Kobe did.
Did you not just say that he doesn't have that killer? And this is the same dude. Wait a minute, you just tripped over yourself, Beast, because this is the same dude. This is the same dude who came in the huddle and said, "Give me the damn ball."
Right, but that's
which one is it?
That's the
Either
problem.
He's not aggressive or he is aggressive.
He don't have that in him every single time, night in, night out. He's not cursed with that.
Of course he is, Beast, and the reation why he is.
Hell no, that's the biggest flaw on LeBron.
That's not true. How are we talking about a dude? So the 30 a game that he averages in the playoffs, right? The 30 a game that he averages in the playoffs, right? Where he's actually expanded his game, where he's shooting on the box, where he's incredible in transition, where he's expanded his mid-range game, where I can't just shoot the ball wide open. That's not going to happen, especially in the playoffs. I can't just shoot. I'm not going to get wide open shots. I have to be able to deal with the defense, getting doubled, getting tripled, and making a smart play. But as a scorer, I do have to put my head down and go, yo, give me the damn ball, which is prime example of what he did in 18 when he put 51 on Kevin Durant and that Golden State team.
In a losing
give me the ball,
effort.
I'll get us there. And Brian has lost way more than he's won when he's done things like that. So that's not true.
Hey, when Bryant was called on to do things like that, he was on a team that wasn't constructed. LeBron James had serviceable talent on that team that went to the finals, and he couldn't get a game. So, yeah, we sampled your voice. You was using it wrong. You made it a hot line. I made it a hot song. What you talking about? LeBron James lacks that aggression.
See what y'all started?
Lacks that aggression. Look.
See, look what y'all started. We got stuff to do here,
Listen,
man.
We definitely do. We getting a little bit off topic.
We got stuff to do here.
Let's get back to what we was talking about. We could say the LeBron James, Michael Jordan shit. It wasn't even Jordan. It's Kobe this time. I got to defend my man Kobe Bean because you be mad disrespectful when it come to Kobe Bean. Real talk.
No, I'm not. No,
yes,
I'm
you
not.
are. He ain't top 10. He ain't a top 5 scorer all time. All this old bullshit.
I never said that, so that's not true. I never said he wasn't a top 5 scorer.
So he is a top 5 scorer.
Absolutely.
But you also got LeBron as a top 5 scorer, which he's not.
I do.
Which
I do have him as
definitely
a top 5
not
scorer.
a top 5 scorer. That's crazy. But anyway, if y'all don't catch Draymond Green's podcast, it's amazing. I love listening to guys that know what the hell they talking about, not only on one side, but on both sides of the court, and they just not just making up shit just to make up shit. Draymond Green talks very sensible on this podcast. He's a dude that's known to be outspoken. I love listening to Draymond Green talk the game of basketball, right? So I was checking out his shit, and he mentioned Steph Curry while we on the three-point record, right? He said on his podcast that he felt like the three-point record would get broken within 5 years of Steph Curry retiring. That's what he said. Then I got to thinking about it. Unc said it's a record that he thinks will be untouchable. So I got to thinking about something. Then you also said Steph Curry probably has another 3 years at this level and probably another 2 years as something else, maybe basically a spot-up shooter, the transition that Ray Allen made, right? So let's do the math, right? Steph Curry, as a rookie, averaged 4.8 threes a night, right? And right now, he's averaging 13 attempts a night. That's mad. In comparison to everybody else in the league, Jason Tatum is averaging 8.3. Harden is averaging 7.4. Edwards is averaging 8.5. Trae Young is averaging 7.0. Mind you, Steph Curry, at this juncture of his career, because all these guys are young, they all under 25. At this juncture in his career, he was only shooting 4.8 threes a game. These guys are doubling his attempts for their respective careers. That's how the game is transitioning. So Draymond Green was basically saying some of these guys in the league today have a head start from when Steph Curry was able to do it during his tenure as a rookie, sophomore, junior, senior, his first 4 years in the league, right?
Right.
Steph averages 5.8 makes a night, rounded up to 6, right?
6, right.
So last year, he had 800 makes last season. No, he had 800 attempts, 377 makes. That's 42% from the field. 377 makes, right? So let's say for the next 5 years, we could give him 250 makes. Even though he may make 300 next year, who's to say he's going to make 300 for the next 5 years? I don't see that happening, right? Last year, he made 377 at 42% from the field. Let's say he makes 250. I think that's a fair assessment. For the next 5 seasons, give or take, up or down, I think it should average itself out. Let's say he makes 250 for the next 5 seasons. That's 1,200 threes. In conjunction with what he's already done and anticipating what he should do, let's say he finishes off with about 4,300 threes in the next 5 seasons altogether. 4,300. That's a lot. That's almost double what Ray Allen does, right? That's nearly double what the record he's trying to beat. So no, it's not. So Ray Allen is at what up?
2,900.
29.
And you're talking about if he gets to 4,200.
43.
That's way more. If he gets to 4,300,
it's not double. Yeah. So let's say he ends his career with 4,300. Like I say, Tatum is averaging 8.3 right now. Harden 7.4. And Harden, mind you, is 4th all time in this respective category that we're talking about. Yep. So he has an opportunity that if he were to keep up this trajectory, he can come close to the record as well. Trae Young in his 3rd season, 7. So Edwards in his, second season, 8.5 a game. You think that number is going to increase or decrease? I think it's likely to increase the amount of threes he attempts per season. It's probably going to increase annually. So is it possible for one of these guys to catch Steph Curry at this trajectory, especially anticipating the three-point line being used as a weapon even more a decade from now? I think it's extremely possible.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, number one, when I think about a guy like James Harden, I don't think James Harden going to be around too much longer. I think he's going to be – I don't think he's – if I had to guess off the top of my head, I think James will be around probably another 3 more years tops. I don't think he's going to hold up that much longer. So that's number one. When I think about these guys, Jason Tatum, when I think about Trae Young, when I think about Anthony Edwards, these guys are volume 3-point shooters. The thing that you left out, Beast, is you left out that Steph Curry, for his career, he is a plus 40% 3-point shooter. He has never shot less than 40% for his career. In all 13 years that he's been in the league, he has not shot under that. Now, Jason Tatum isn't nearly as efficient. Trae Young, none of these guys are nearly as efficient. And that is during the fact that's when Steph Curry improved. So I don't see Jason Tatum being a 45% three-point shooter at any point in his career.
But if you,
especially at that volume. Trae Young, I don't see him being a 45%
but that's the
three-point shooter.
thing, Unc. I don't think they need to be, because the volume in which they're going to attempt a shot is going to pretty much balance out the efficiency in which Steph shoots it at. That's why I brought up, when I first engaged in the argument, Steph's 4.8 his rookie year. Those are attempts, not makes.
Right.
4.8 compared to Anthony Edwards is 8.5 in his sophomore campaign. That's double the amount of threes Steph was taking. So he's getting a head start. So I would, if I can go back and look at the numbers and see how many threes Steph made in his first 2 seasons versus how many Anthony Edwards has right now, I guarantee you that number is close, even though Steph Curry shot it at a more efficient level than Anthony Edwards is. So I'm thinking the efficiency is going to balance itself out with the volume. Now, who's to say 5 years from now Anthony Edwards won't be attempting 10 or 11 threes a game? That's not far-fetched to believe that, especially if he gets better and works on it in the offseason.
Now, with that being said, I'm looking at the numbers also, and I'm thinking about Trae Young at this stage right now where Trae Young is. If he averaged, I think it was 175 threes over the next 12 years, and this is where he is already. He already in year 4. He's in year 5. So over the next 12 years, if he averaged 175 threes, he would top out at about 4,000, because he already got 500. He got 530 right now. So if he averaged another 175 over the next 12 years, he would average out to about he would total out to about 4,000.
And you said 100 and how many?
About 175, which ain't ridiculous, because and the reason why that's not ridiculous, because we're talking about like 3 threes a game.
Not 175 would put him at 4,000. Mind
we're
you,
talking
Curry,
over the next 12 years.
Curry made 337 last season. So that's double what you anticipating for Trae.
Right. So here's the thing. Here's the thing that we're talking about. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But here's the thing we're talking about. We're talking about health. We're talking about system, how much longer he's going to be able to play at this level. Now, I can appreciate who Trae Young is, as I'm a big Trae Young fan.
Me too.
But I'm a big Trae Young fan. But when I think about him being able to hold up for another 12 years at this level, I need to see that. Absolutely. I'm not worried about his volume in terms of him shooting the basketball, because I think he's shooting 39% this season. And yeah, he does have a jump. But when I think about, is he going to be able to hold up at that level? Steph Curry has shot the ball at an elite level for at minimum 7 years. I'm talking about not a good level, not a great level,
elite.
but at an elite level for 7 years. Does Trae Young have an 8 to 10 year run in him where he can shoot the long ball at an elite level? That's going to be real interesting.
At an elite level, probably not. But I think with him getting a head start on Curry, I think, like I say, the volume alone, Steph Curry is not going to be challenged for the greatest shooter of all time. So just because somebody makes more threes than him don't mean that they're a better shooter than him. Steph Curry didn't have to make more threes than Ray Allen for us to say he was the greatest shooter of all time. It's just him getting that mark is just putting the icing on the cake. Now now you can't even argue that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So even if, let's say, a guy like Anthony Edwards were to make more threes than Steph Curry, he still can't shoot it the way that he does and at the clip that he shoots it at efficiently. So it still wouldn't make him the greatest shooter of all time. But I'm just saying that record is not unbreakable. And I think it's possible for these young cats to catch it, especially with the trajectory that the league is headed. That's all I'm saying. I don't think this ain't Wilt Chamberlain's record. This ain't AC Green record.
I do think it is, Beast, and the reason why I think it is because I think about how much longer. I think he's got more years at this level, and that's going to be the difference right there.
You gave Trae Young 175 made threes. I gave him 250.
Right, and here's the difference, Beast. I think Steph Curry is at that level. I think he's going to be at that level for another 2 or 3 years, and in another 3 years, he can play at the level that these dudes are playing at now. So that's going to balance itself out. When he's with when he's with, I don't know, he's in Los Angeles with the Lakers or he's in New York with the Knicks. I think that can balance out where now these guys are trying to catch up to him. So I think that's where the difference is. I don't think this is a record that's going to be touched.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We could agree to disagree. I think it's touchable. You think it's untouchable. Hey, hopefully we'll be alive to see whether it comes true and comes into fruition or not. But we're going to stay on the subject of Draymond Green because he had some very interesting shit. He had Meta World Peace on his show, and they was discussing defense and how a lot of defensive-minded guys get slept on. And Draymond Green made a bold statement saying that he thinks he's the greatest defender of his era, because a few years ago, might have been last year, he made a bold statement saying he thinks he's the greatest defender of all time. Now, people was getting on this case about it, and I always felt like, hey, Draymond Green has credentials on that side of the ball. So if he were to feel like, hey, I feel like I'm the best defender of all time, he's entitled to feel like that. I think he's entitled to feel that way. I disagree.
Absolutely.
But who are you to tell Draymond he can't feel that way with the credentials and the shit that he's done in his league?
It's not ridiculous.
That's my point.
Ridiculous.
So
it's not.
He revised it on his podcast, and he actually said, I only said that to create conversation, to get guys talking about us on the defensive side of the ball, because offense gets all the love, which they do. They put the most points on the board. That's all. It's all about scoring. You've heard me say it repetitively.
All the time. I hear that from you on a regular.
All the time. That's what I love. So Draymond Green switched it up and said, I may not be the greatest defender of all time. Could have been a little bit of pressure applied, considering the fact he was sitting across from Meta World Peace, a.k.a. Ron Artest. That could apply some pressure for him to revise his statement. But he revised his statement and went from, I'm not the greatest I might not be the greatest defender of all time, but I'm definitely the greatest defender in my era. I'm going to go first on this one, Unc.
I'm listening.
Draymond Green saying that statement is not blasphemy at all. Of course, if I don't think it's blasphemous for him to feel that he was the greatest ever, it definitely ain't for him to feel like he's the greatest in his defender or in his era. But he does have a lot of competition. If we take it back, what are we considering Draymond Green's era? Are we considering before he got into the league? Are we considering the entire 2010s? I'm gonna just take it from when he got into the league, because that could.
He came in the league in 12, so that's where I'm going to start.
In 2012. So in 2012. The defensive player of the year was Marc Gasol. Then it was Joakim Noah, hell of a defender. Marc Gasol,
absolutely
solid defender. I think he was a bit overrated on the defensive side of the ball, but I think he won more so because of what Memphis was doing as a collective unit than what he was doing on his own, right? Defensive win shares was through the roof. That's a team stat, right? Kawhi Leonard, back-to-back, hellacious defender, one of the greatest defenders of this generation.
Yep.
Then Draymond won it after him, right? Then Rudy Gobert won it back-to-back. Then Giannis won it, and then Gobert again. So it's like, how many of these guys on this list of Defensive Player of the Year since Draymond Green got into this league are you going to say, okay, Draymond's a better defender than that guy, right? So we start with Marc Gasol. I would take Draymond Green over Marc Gasol. What about you?
Yes.
Okay. What about Joakim Noah?
Yes.
You would take Draymond Green over Joakim?
I would take Dre over Joakim. Yes, I would.
Y'all know I'm a homer. Joakim did a lot for us, but I would take Draymond Green over Joakim Noah from the defensive side. If I had to choose one to be on my team as a defender, I would take Draymond Green over Joakim Noah. Kawhi Leonard.
This is the only guy that I think this is a competition with right now. And the reason why I say that this is the only guy is because Giannis just became that dude over the last 3 years. So he's still working on it. That's number one. Rudy is primarily a rim protector, right? And Rudy can defend on the perimeter, but he's not nearly as versatile as Draymond in terms of an all-around defender. So I think that this is only one guy. And when I think about that one guy, I think about Leonard. So what's the difference between Draymond and Leonard? Draymond has a higher defensive win share. And it's basically like this, so I can't use that. But what I can use is I can use Leonard as a better one-on-one defender. I think that Leonard, his ability to get his hands busy, his ability to disrupt, I think that his ability to disrupt your offense from top to bottom, especially as a perimeter defender. I think he's a better perimeter defender than Draymond. I think Draymond is a better all-around defender. Draymond, you can't put a price tag on his ability to, and I can't discount this at all. You can't put a price tag on his ability to communicate with his guys. Yeah. When you talking to guys and you communicating, yo, slide, hey, Watch the screen. And he's doing that. Leonard is not much of a communicator. He's more of an individual defender. I think Draymond is a better team defender. And you could very well give him the edge on that because that does so much for his team and it translates more to winning for his team. So if I had to give him the edge, it would be primarily because of that. But Leonard is definitely, in my opinion, a better one-on-one defender. And I don't think that I can argue that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I agree with every single thing you said. So the only two guys left on the list is Gobert and Giannis. And you stated that Giannis just started doing it at an elite level. So would you right now take prime Draymond Green over Giannis? So you taking Draymond?
Yes, I would. I would take Draymond over Giannis. If we're talking about prime Draymond and prime Giannis, because Giannis ain't in his prime yet as a defender. Right. I still think he's working on that.
Yeah, no doubt.
I still think he's working on that. So I'm not taking Giannis yet. If you ask me this question in another year, in another 2 years, absolutely. Yeah. Because I think that he's going to get better. He's going to get smarter. We talking about a dude who's only 27 years old. He's going to learn the game even more. He's going to learn how to scout. He's going to learn how to watch film. These things are important, very important.
But I'm going to tell you something like this. Not to cut you off, but I agree with everything you've been saying. We've been on the same page as this. But when it comes to impact, I think the two guys on this list, when it comes to impact, Rudy Gobert and Draymond Green, I think, have the greatest impact on their team defensively. When Rudy Gobert is not in that lineup, the Utah Jazz are sub 15 in the league in defensive efficiency.
Last year, they was third from the bottom when he's off the floor.
That's what I'm
third from the bottom when he was off the floor.
When Rudy, I don't know what it is about the Stifle Tower, but when he is not there, he is the clear-cut anchor of their defense. Because what perimeter lockdown defender do they truly have? They don't have one.
They don't have one.
They don't have one at all. So
O'Neal,
they ain't got one. Royce O'Neal, he's not even a perimeter guy. Like he. They don't have a perimeter like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's the Rudy Gobert show, and it seems like when he is on the floor, that team is top 3 in defensive efficiency, defensive win shares, the whole 9. So his impact on that team is completely underrated in my opinion, but underrated to the masses because they don't respect a guy like that, right? Because they don't know what type of impact he has on the game. But the league knows, which is why he's 2-3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Same thing for Draymond Green. I think his may be more underrated than Rudy Gobert's is because the impact he has for the Warriors is unmatched. His ability to guard the 1 through 5 without being a liability. I'm not saying consistently guard a point guard all game, but if he were to get switched, he's not a liability.
He's there. What you call? You a football guy, Beast. You know this is just as well as I do. When I think about Draymond Green in terms of an anchor or in terms of a lead on defense, he ain't Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
He's their guy. He's their guy calling out plays. He's their guy calling out where we should be, what you should be doing. That's who he is for them. He's what Ray Lewis was.
No doubt.
That's how I look at Draymond on that as an anchor for that defense. Absolutely.
So I think Draymond Green legitimately has a case and an argument to be the greatest defender of his era. In fact,
it ain't ridiculous.
I might go out on a limb and say that he is.
It's not ridiculous,
especially when it comes to versatility. The only guy that I legit think is comparable besides Kawhi Leonard is Rudy Gobert. So it's a 3. If I'm gonna say it's a 3, if it's not a 3-way tie between Gobert, Kawhi, and Draymond, I'm going to give Draymond a slight edge over Gobert, but I'm going to give Kawhi as a perimeter defender the edge over everybody. But as a collective defender, I got to go Draymond Green with that situation.
Absolutely. I can get with that logic, sure. I don't got a problem with that
Speaking of defenders,
I can get with that logic. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of defenders, we gon' try to run through the top 5 defenders. Since Draymond Green want to spark a debate about defense and how they don't get enough conversation, let's put them into the conversation.
Look what you started, Dre. See what you started, Dre?
You started this, Draymond. So we gon' y'all. You want some love? Let's give them some damn love. Top 5 defenders of all time. Let me hear yours.
All right. Well, this was a beast. This was hard.
Very hard.
This was hard
because me inside, I want to pick 5 bigs. That's the easy route to go.
Right.
But I'm not gonna leave out no guards now that deserve to be in this area, or no forwards that deserve to be in this area.
I can't do it, man. I really can't. So if I had to pick 5 guards, so I had
no guards.
No, right. So if I not five guards, if I have five guys, I mean not five guards.
Yeah.
So at five, I had to pick between two guys who were absolutely awesome. I mean, Ben Wallace and Dwight Howard. I had to pick between those two at five. Well, I think Ben was a more versatile defender. I think that he could guard the five, he could guard the four, he could guard the three. He may be able to chase the two around a little bit, right? I think Howard was more of a rim protector and a rebounder, and I think that he was limited to that. He was elite at that, no question about it. But I think Ben was a little bit more versatile than him in that aspect. So I got to go with Ben at five. At number four, this was difficult for me, boy, because Gary Payton is the best defensive point guard that I have ever seen in my life. No question. I ain't never seen nobody at the point guard spot lock ass like GP.
Yeah.
Never. But then I had to switch it up because I'm talking about guards, and I had to switch it up, and I had to think about, what about Jay? Wait a minute. Who locking ass like Jay? Who is locking ass like Jay is? When I talk about locking ass, I don't mean because Gary can guard the one and Gary can guard the two. He might have a little bit of difficult time with the three, but he can dip. But as a point guard, he has to. So when I think about this, I had to go with Jay. I had to go with Jay. I had to go with Jay at four. At three, I had to choose. This was one of the toughest ones that I had because I'm thinking about a guy in Jabbar who was the ultimate rim protector. There was no rim protector better than Jabbar. When he retired, he's the all-time shot block leader. He made it clear, if you're coming in here, I'm shutting the door on you.
Facts.
Problem with Jabbar was this all he was. Jabbar was a rim protector and a rebounder, just like Dwight Howard. Jabbar wasn't guarding on the wing. Jabbar wasn't guarding the small forward. Jabbar was primarily guarding at the bucket.
No doubt.
So that gives the edge to Duncan because Duncan guarded on the wing. Duncan guarded in the post. I give him the slight edge over. Kevin Garnett. I give him the slight edge over that. That was tough to do. Absolutely. So at number two, man, I had three guys. I had three guys, and I had to pick one. And these three guys that I had to pick one, I had to pick between Dennis, I had to pick between Scotty, and I had to pick between James. And I'm thinking to myself, how much of a disruption was Dennis? Because I watched Dennis deal with Magic. I watched Dennis deal with Jordan.
Malone.
I watched Dennis deal with Scottie Pippen. I watched Dennis deal with Malone and Sean Kemp, right? I watched Dennis deal with Ewing and Shaq at the five.
No doubt.
So you want to talk about a defender? I don't know if it gets more versatile than that. That's as versatile as it gets. When I think about Scotty didn't deal with the four. Scotty didn't deal with the five like that, right? Scotty didn't do that. So same thing with James. James didn't deal with the four. James didn't deal with the five like that, right? That was a little bit difficult for me. So I had to pick Rodman. Absolutely, I had to pick Rodman. I did. I had to pick Rodman at two. And at number one, I didn't even have nobody else. It's Olajuwon for me. At number one, he's the best defender that I've ever seen. And I don't think it's close.
Okay,
Olajuwon is at the top of the league.
I'm not mad at that list whatsoever, but I went in a different direction with it. Like you say, this list was extremely hard to create, extremely hard. It took me a while to think about it. I've been thinking about it all day. It'd have been easier if I would have just said greatest point guard defenders, greatest two guard defender, or greatest guard defenders, greatest big man defenders. But to try to find a way to ingratiate some type of guard play into this was tough without being disrespectful to the guys that deserve to be in the top five. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, I do top fives. I don't do top tens. Because when you do a top 10, you end up with a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick in your top 10. And he don't deserve to be mentioned.
See what happens?
You see what I'm saying? He don't deserve to be mentioned. So I want to be disrespectful because I want you to leave somebody off. If we would have did a top 10, Unc would have been able to have Scotty in there. Maybe even a few throw-in. You could have Sidney Moncrief at 10. You could have been able to do a lot with that. But when you get to the nitty-gritty, I want 5. Damn 10. I don't care about 10. That's why I only do 5. People that do 10s are cop-outs. You don't want to be disrespectful, so you want to make sure you cover all your bases. But in doing so, you get Ryan Fitzpatrick on your list. But here's my top 5 defenders of all time. I got Rodman at 5. Arguably the most versatile defender on this list. Two-time
Mm-hmm.
Defensive Player of the Year, back-to-back, might I add. I'm sad to see it wasn't in a Bulls uniform. Wished it could have been, but it was in the Detroit uniform.
Ho. 3 times, not 2.
Oh, 3?
Make sure we get it correct, B.
2 was back-to-back, though. He didn't get 3 in a row.
Yeah, no, not 3 in a row, but
Okay.
he won it 3 times.
Did he?
Okay, now.
You sure?
Won in the 89-90 season, Mr. Dennis Rodman is the master lock Defensive Player of the Year. Absolutely, sir.
Okay. I could have sworn it was 2 times in a row. Maybe I'm wrong.
And not only that, we talking about a dude who he cried in the press conference.
Yeah,
like,
I remember
I
that.
wanted this. Yeah, that was in 1990.
Yeah.
Did it 3 times, Beast. Get it right now.
Copy that. Hey, Dennis Rodman may need to be higher than 5, but I got him at 5 on this list, right? At 4, I got Hakeem Olajuwon. This man, probably, you could debate all 5 of these guys to be number 1. So, depending on what you favor, what you like, what you desire, and what you look for defensively in a player, Hakeem Olajuwon covered all bases. Shot blocking ability. He wasn't a liability at the perimeter if he were to get switched on a guard. It wasn't like, okay, ISO, we about to kick this guy's ass. No. Hakeem can move his feet, and he can stay with you defensively. At 3, I got the GOAT, Michael Jordan. We already know. 2nd or 3rd highest steals per game average all time. 200 steals, 100 blocks twice in his career. All elite defender 9 times. I mean, Michael Jordan is in my opinion the greatest perimeter defender to ever play this game. That's my opinion. At 2, it's crazy that you didn't have this guy on your list. That's Bill Russell. Me going back and watching some Bill Russell film, some Bill Russell highlights, I get to see how athletic this guy was during his tenure in his career. And if they were to account for blocks back then, Russell probably would have averaged 7 a night because he was all over the place. His ability to move his feet, his length, his quickness, not only on the block but also on the perimeter. You know, his recovery speed was immaculate. Like, you talk about a chase down block within 13 feet range. If a guard got past him, it was coming off the glass. Like, Bill Russell was catching shit in the air. He was a complete animal defensively and consensusly known throughout the NBA community as the greatest defender of all time. Point blank period. So I have him at 2. And number 1, I got Ben Wallace, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Ben Wallace can guard the 1 and get switched. He can guard the 2 off a switch. He can guard the 3 the whole game, the 4 the whole game, and the 5 the whole game.
That matters, yo.
The whole game without being a liability at either one of them. Man will give you 6 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 blocks. The dude was incredible defensively. One of only 2 players to get 4 Defensive Player of the Years. That matters. Mm-hmm. I think Ben Wallace is the greatest defender of all time. Mm-hmm. Point blank period.
I can get with that logic. Yeah, I can absolutely get with that logic. Sure.
Yeah.
I can absolutely get with that logic.
That's why I say Mutombo was an honorable mention. He would have been a guy that
no, you just said it, Beast. We got 5 guys. That means we being disrespectful and we leaving some people off. I'm not listening to
Mutombo got left
he ain't slept on. No, he not. Mutombo was not a top 5 defender. Nope. He was not a better defender than Duncan. Nah. He was not a better defender than Olajuwon. Yeah. He is not a better defender than Jabbar. Fact. He is not a better defender than any of them dudes. So no, he is not slept on.
And between us, we got like 9 guys, eight guys. So it's like, you know, if we were to do a top 10, maybe he'd make the list. But see, that's the shit I'm talking about. Guys get left off every day, B. You know what I'm saying?
Every day.
Like, so
a day.
Hey, that is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
A day.
So now that we got the defenders out the way, Draymond Green, I hope you're happy.
Yep.
We brought some attention to the defenders, some guys that need some attention. Now, let's discuss some guys that have been not playing up to par, right? Some guys in the NBA right now that I feel like should be playing better than what the hell they playing, whether it be because of the new rules, whether it be because of the more strict refereeing, which is by my standards, I'm loving it. I'm loving the way the refs is calling the game now. Everything ain't a foul. You really got to earn your fouls, and guys have to make an adjustment. But if I can pick, I'll go first on this one. If I can pick 5 guys that are completely underachieving right now to start the season, what are we, 2 months in, month and a half in? 5 guys that are completely underachieving right now. At 5, I got Jalen Brown.
Okay.
Jalen Brown is averaging 21-5, which ain't bad, considering he's coming off a season in which he averaged 24-6, and he was one of the main catalysts to the Boston Celtics' success right now. The Boston Celtics are struggling, and it's mainly because we were expecting Jalen Brown to go the other way. He went backwards. So he's playing like dog shit, and he needs to be playing better. He was supposed to take that next developmental leap, and he's going the wrong way. At 4, I got Anthony Davis. Now, this is a guy that I may be a little bit harsh on by saying this. Anthony Davis is averaging 24-10 right now, right? 19% from 3. We got to stop coming up with these notions that these guys are actually good three-point shooters. Everybody would pass Anthony Davis as a guy that's a solid three-point shooter, but he's not. I don't think Anthony Davis has ever come close to shooting 35% for his career ever in life. When did we start this notion that Anthony Davis is a great three-point shooter or a solid three-point shooter? He's a guy that
NBA championship. That when they won the NBA championship in 20, when he was knocking down threes. Anthony Davis is a great three-point shooter. Easy.
He's not.
Easy.
He's never been. Like, he's a guy that shoots them, but he's never been great at knocking them down. He's shooting them 19% this year.
A break with this dude.
And it's like, dude, cut it out. We got to start treating him like we do Russell Westbrook. If we going to get on Russell Westbrook ass and Giannis ass, who's both shooting a higher percentage from 3 than Anthony Davis, why don't nobody say nothing to AD when he chucking up all these damn threes?
That's a good question. That's a damn good question.
Like, that's just point blank, period. But Anthony Davis, the reason why I have him on this list, even though he's averaging 24-10, he needs to be averaging 28, 29, and 10.
And 2 blocks, too. Don't leave that out. 2 blocks, too.
2.5. Damn the bullshit. If you want this Laker team that has success, you need to ball out. You the youngest guy on the squad. You in their prime. You're supposed to be a top 5 player, and you're not playing like one. You blending in. You need to stand out. The Anthony Davis that was in New Orleans was a dog. Where is he at? He's completely disappeared off of the face of this planet. 24-10 is not cutting it, AD. I'm sorry. 24-10 is not enough. I need 28-12 from you with 2.5 blocks. Dominance. I need you to be an MVP candidate. Damn Russell Westbrook. Damn LeBron James. I need you to be like Shaq in 2001. Seal these mofos off in the paint. Give me this pill. I'm not taking no for an answer. And if I got 6 points going into halftime, I'm flipping every damn thing in the locker room. You need that dog. He lacks that dog. That's why I'm on his ass, because I love Anthony Davis. He's from my city. I need to see that dog in you.
And James would absolutely get on
Embrace
board
it
if
with
he did
with open arms.
Yeah,
LeBron is in his
James would get on
19th
board with
season. You are
Yeah,
27 years of age. You know what LeBron was doing at 27? Hell, do you know what Westbrook was doing at 27?
Right.
Damn that. You're 27. Seal these mofos off and clap for the ball. I don't never see Anthony Davis begging for the pill and getting pissed when he don't get it. You know what Shaq used to do when he didn't get the ball? It's trouble for whoever got to see him in that locker room, including Kobe. So I need to see more from Anthony Davis. I'm sorry. At 3, I got Luka Doncic. He's averaging 25, 8, and 8. All his shooting splits is down from last year. So was the Dallas Mavericks. They just barely at 500. They supposed to be going up, but you are going backwards, my friend. Luka, what is going on with you? I need to see a better performance from you. I love me some Luka Doncic, but I need to see you take a developmental leap forward. People were trying to make you the best player in the league. People were trying to say you was going to take LeBron's spot as the most complete player of all time. People was putting you on that pedestal, trying to make you a top 5 player in the league. I need to see it because I haven't been seeing it. 25, 8, and 8 is cool, but not on them splits you shooting them at. Point blank. At 2, only reason why this guy's not number 1 because I had higher expectations for the guy that's at number 1, even though this guy should be number 1. At 2, I got Damian Lillard. 21-7 is completely unacceptable, especially when you're shooting 39% from the field. Walking abomination for Damian Lillard. I don't know what the hell is going on. He's not playing like the top 10 player I had him in coming into this season. And Damian Lillard is just all off. 30% from 3. Like, respectively. Damian Lillard is just all the way off the rails this year. I don't know if it's the trade rumors going around. He's getting tired of people saying he wants out of Portland when he probably does want out of Portland, but he's going to tell the media that he doesn't want out of Portland. I don't know what the hell's going on with Dame, but he need to get his shit together.
Yeah.
Number 1, I got James Harden. He's averaging 20 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds on 40% shooting from the field. That is horrendous. 40% shooting from the field. That is horrendous. 34% from 3. That ain't bad. 40%. Like, everybody, majority of the squad either had 2 teams coming into this season as the favorites, the Nets and the Lakers. Now, the Nets' record indicates that they are proving people to be right, but I don't see this lasting in the playoffs. As Unc says, they are fool's gold. And if James Harden don't get his shit together, I don't see them making it out the first or the second round. That's just my prediction. Harden needs to be shooting at least 45% from the field. Point blank.
Absolutely. I can get with that logic. I got a couple different ones, though. I do. I got a couple of different ones at number 5. And I was really disappointed at what's going on right now. So at number 5, I got Sabonis. I had Indiana doing something this season. I thought that they were going to take that leap. I looked at the talent on that roster, and I thought that they had a legit shot in making the playoffs. And it's largely due to Sabonis going the other way. And we talking about a dude last year who was 20-12, right?
No doubt.
And I thought that he made the All-Star team the year before. So I expected him to take that leap. He's 18-12 this year, and he's playing the same amount of minutes, all right? Playing the same amount of minutes. His efficiency is still there, but he has not given me. I expected him to take that leap because we're talking about guys who, why are they not playing better? And I looked at that Indiana team and that talent on that team, he should be playing better than what he's playing, and it's unacceptable. At number 4, I had R.J. Barrett. I expected R.J. Barrett to move into a different level this year. We're talking about a dude who averaged 18 a game last year, took that team, that New York Knicks team, to the playoffs, and he had gotten better every year. This year, he's at 15 a game. 15 a game. That's not nearly enough. They're in 11th place in the Eastern Conference, and that's primarily due to him. I expected him to be a lot better and to take that leap this year to be a 19, 20 a game guy and for that Knicks team to be a legit playoff contender, but they're not. And I think that's largely due to R.J. Barrett.
No doubt.
He should be playing better than what he's doing. At number 3, I got Damian Lillard. At number 3, I got Damian Lillard, and I just expected Dame. That 21-7 you talked about, that's year 3 Damian Lillard. That's year 2 Damian Lillard. The guy that's still trying to figure it out. The guy that I still don't know exactly what I am in this league yet. Am I a scorer? And I think that Trailblazer team, where they are, I think that's affected him. And I think that's affected his game. In addition to the new rules, him having to play through traffic, even though he never really had a problem playing through traffic in the past, but I think it's affecting him now. And he should be playing better than what he's playing. I have him at number 3. At number 2, I got your man from Chi-Town, Anthony Davis. Before the season started, you and I had a conversation about who are we predicting as the league MVP. And Anthony Davis was in that conversation for me. He was absolutely in that conversation for me. He was a guy who the Lakers ended up going out early in the playoffs. So I'm thinking he's coming back healthy. He's going to be super sharp. I'm expecting 26 to 28, 12. The Lakers are going to be really good, and he's going to be the reason why. And he hasn't been playing like that. He's been playing like a stallion that's just running with the other stallions, and he hasn't separated himself. And that's not good enough, Beast. That's just not good enough at all. It's not good enough, and it's not going to get them done. It's not going to get it done. And at number 1, I got James Harden, and the reason why I got James Harden, he's at, I think This is the lowest point. This is his lowest point total in almost 10 years. And you mentioned him shooting 40%. You left out, he lead the league in turnovers.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we clear on that. He leads the league in turnovers. I think this is his lowest since his rook season, his field goal percentage. He hasn't shot a lower field goal percentage than this since his rook season. And he's leading the league in turnovers. And he's been a guy who has played himself into shape when he was younger, Beast. Played himself into shape when he was younger. And it worked.
Yeah.
But he's gotten older now, and I think it's catching up to him.
Facts.
And I think it's catching up to him, and that's why in addition to them playing the new rules of contact, I don't think that would have affected him 5 years ago nearly as much as it's affecting him now, because I think he's starting to slow down.
I do too. I see James Harden losing a bit of a step. It's sad to say a lot of these guys is getting older, and we just got to embrace the fact that it's inevitable. You know what I mean? So, I'm not mad at that, James Harden being at number one, because I expected him to at least shoot 45% from the field. He was extremely efficient last year, and for him to have this type of fall off, I can't attribute that to just lack of free throw shooting, even though that made up. We missing probably 8 points of free throws just strictly off that from James Harden. But let's play a little game, though. We running low on time. Let's play a little game, and then we're going to get into questions from the fans. I'm going to name two guys, and I want you to tell me which one you would rather take and who would you rather start your franchise with, right? We got Prime T-Mac versus Prime Melo. Who was better? Damn the franchise. Who was better, Prime T-Mac or Prime Carmelo Anthony?
I know that a lot of people want to say that it's Tracy McGrady. Just so y'all know, Tracy McGrady, the year he led the league in scoring, he averaged 28 a game. How would y'all feel about that if I told y'all that Tracy McGrady shot 41% from the floor that year and shot under 80 from the stripe? How would you feel about that? And by the way, not only did he do that season, for the next 6 years, he barely shot over 40% for the next 6 years. And this is a guy in his prime. Meanwhile, Carmelo Anthony is giving me 26 a game, and he's shooting in the mid-40s. Mm-hmm. Now, I can appreciate Tracy McGrady being a better athlete than Carmelo Anthony. I will never question that. Never question him being a better athlete. I think that Carmelo Anthony, if I'm starting my franchise, I got to go with Anthony.
I'm going to take...
And we're talking about a guy who he didn't hold up. That was the biggest thing. Durability is a big deal to me, and he did not hold up. Yeah, and Carmelo Anthony did.
That's true. That's true, and that's why I said prime between the both of them. So I wasn't counting durability, but you are right about that. Tracy McGrady was extremely inefficient, especially his years in Orlando early on. He was a sub 45% shooter. If he was at 45, I wouldn't have any complaints, but he was shooting 41%, from the field, shooting high volume. Carmelo was solid when it came to efficiency. So, and also both of these guys had lack of playoff success, so that's not really a factor here. That's why it's such a great comparison. Both all-time great scorers, both extremely athletic. Both have lack of playoff success, so you can't say that's why I would take one over the other. But if I had to choose one, I'd probably take Tracy McGrady, because I think you compare Tracy McGrady with a superstar better than you can compare Carmelo with one, especially if they both in their prime. Because I think Carmelo Anthony is that guy. Now, I do believe Tracy McGrady could be the best player on a championship team if he's with somebody that can take off the pressure. And if him and Yao Ming could have been more healthy together on a consistent basis, I think once they developed some chemistry, I think they would have been trouble back in the day. But Carmelo Anthony, if you look at the state of the New York Knicks before Carmelo got there, when it was just Amari Stoudemire, Amari was an MVP candidate. As soon as Melo got there, all of that shit went out the window. It's hard to pair a prime Carmelo Anthony with another superstar. That's just what I believe. So in that situation, I would probably take Tracy McGrady over Carmelo Anthony to start my franchise.
All right.
Another question. Who ends with a better career, Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard?
Glad you mentioned that, because in terms of a player, I think you and I had this conversation before that I think Leonard, you can make the argument that he was a better player at one point then Kevin Durant. You could make that argument, but I don't think I don't think Leonard's going to be around that much longer. Leonard is 30 years old. I don't think I'd be surprised if he's around another 5 years. But he had a stretch. So we're talking about a dude in I think it was the 16-17 season. He was 26, 6-5. He was 30. He was 30-7 in the playoffs. And then in that 18-19 season, he was 30-9 in the playoffs. And you can make the argument that he was the best player in the game. Same thing last year. I thought that with him healthy, I thought that if they got past the Clippers, I thought that they had a legit shot to win the NBA championship. I was very much convinced of that. But when I think about Leonard in terms of his health, I don't think he's going to be around much longer. I really don't. I think that KD got some years left ahead of him, and I think he's got some good years left ahead of him, and I think that's going to be the difference.
No doubt about it. I just think already at this juncture of their careers, if they were to retire right now, I'm giving it to Kevin Durant. But I do like what Kawhi Leonard did in such a short span, because when he got to that point, he stayed at that point. He took off, and he proved to be what I was waiting on with Kawhi. Is he was one of those raw talent type of kids. We knew he was great defensively, and usually those gritty guys that come out great defensively take a while to develop an offensive game. When Kawhi developed it, it was so efficient. Like his mid-range, the three-point developed, his penetration game developed, his post game developed, and it's like, damn, Kawhi low-key got a little bag. But if we're talking about in terms of who's going to end with a better career, Kevin Durant is a two-time back-to-back champion, back-to-back finals MVP. He's going to finish his career with close to 30,000 points, if not 30,000 points. Kawhi Leonard, his career numbers will come nowhere near Kevin Durant's. Even though Kawhi Leonard is a two-time champion, two-time finals MVP, it'll come nowhere near close to what Kevin Durant will be able to garner as far as points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. So I'm going to take Kevin Durant to finish with a better career. Last question. No. We got two more. Paul George versus Jimmy Butler. Who we starting the franchise with?
Man, I think that if Paul George don't get hurt, I'm starting my franchise with Paul George. I dig Jimmy Buckets, and I dig who he was as a player, but I think that Paul George had the potential to be the best player in the league. I never at any point thought that Jimmy Butler would be the best player in the NBA. I thought Paul George had the potential to be the best player in the game before he got hurt.
I agree with that. I'm going to take Jimmy Butler, though, not only because I'm a Chicagoan, but it's just a simple fact that I think Jimmy Butler has what it takes to lead a team. He may not be the better player because I think Paul George is a better player, but because Jimmy Butler's leadership weighs so much heavy, if I'm starting a franchise, I need somebody to be the catalyst of what we want to bring, what we represent, what we stand for. And Jimmy Butler, I can know that if the coach is not around, he can be a coach not only on the court, but also in the locker room. Set an example for the younger guys and an example of what this identity of this team is. And I love that about Jimmy Butler. That's why he went to Miami. He was able to implement his identity on what the Miami Heat was going to be. And they have an identity. They are a defensive, gritty team with a bunch of shooters. And they got Jimmy Butler, who's the penetrator and the leader of this organization. And I love what he brings.
Can you admit you're a homer? Can you do that?
I mean, I am. But to be honest with you, this I got a legit argument for why, though. It's not just a homer pick. I got a legit argument for why.
That does have something to do with it, though. Jimmy Butler.
Of course.
Okay, so let's make that. That's all I want to make sure that I'm clear on. Okay.
Hey, Jimmy G Buckets. The G stands for gets. Real talk. Now, same question. Who you starting your franchise with? Jason Tatum or Devin Booker?
Oh man, for me this simple. And I love Devin Booker because Devin Booker ain't nothing but buckets. Mm-hmm. That's where he is. 26 a game over the last 5 years. And we didn't find that out until he got Chris Paul, how nice he was in terms of a scorer. Yeah. But when I think about Jason Tatum, we talking about a dude who is a bigger version of that. I think Jason Tatum at some point is going to be the best player in the game. And I think that they're going to move on in Boston with Jalen Brown. I think they're going to move on, and then that team's going to be his, and they're going to continue to build around him. So if I'm starting a franchise, he's my favorite player under 25. So absolutely, I'm going with Jason Tatum.
No doubt about it. I'm with you on that one, Jason Tatum. Simply because we've seen what Devin Booker was able to do by himself, and it was absolutely nothing. And as soon as they get Chris Paul, they're in the NBA Finals. He has that type of effect, and I'm looking for players that got that type of effect, and Devin Booker is not one of them. He's just a scorer. He's a guy that's going to put up buckets for you, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But you got to have a guy that's going to facilitate, a guy that's going to lead, a guy that's going to maintain the pace and the flow of the offense and the defense, because Chris Paul is it's not arguable. He's the greatest two-way point guard to ever walk this earth, point blank period, in my opinion, if you ask me. There's not a better point guard to play both sides of the ball like Chris Paul. So
with that being said, what you just said, with that being said, have we seen Devin Booker's ceiling? Like, are we getting any more from him?
No. I think what you see is
so
what
you think
get.
that's it?
I don't think he has another
him.
level. I think JT does have another level, though.
That's where I'm going with it. I absolutely think that Jason Tatum has another level. I don't think that we've seen the best of him yet. That's why I would go with him over Devin Booker.
No doubt about it. And we saw Jason Tatum lead his team to the Eastern Conference Finals even without a Kyrie Irving at an early age. So we saw a lot of that from him. So I know he has that in him. A lot of people would accredit that to Brad Stevens, but I think Jason Tatum has that in him. Once he gets his shit together, he's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's going to wrap up our show, man. Questions from the fans. Let it rain. Let it rain. Let me hear what y'all got. Questions from the fans. Ask us anything. It ain't got to be basketball related, football related. It could be life related, girl related, female related, rap related, R&B related. It don't matter.
I dig that Kawhi KD comparison, yo. I dig that, no doubt about that, because I look at what KD was and I look at what Leonard was, and in order to make that comparison, Kawhi has to have been in a conversation with being the best player in the game. He has to.
No doubt.
So,
and I think Kawhi was in that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like what he's accomplished, and it seems like to win championships the way that he did with two different teams. And one of the teams was a situation that you were placed in, not a situation like LeBron James in which you chose it. You was just given a situation and you made the most out of it. It's like, that's amazing to me. So that's why I think, like, Kevin Durant chose his destiny. LeBron chose his destiny. Like, Kawhi Leonard made the most out of a situation that wasn't even ideal. It wasn't even conducive to what he was looking for. He wanted to go to L.A., ended up in a different country, and won a championship. Like, that's crazy.
Best R&B artist ever? The best R. Now, understand, there's a difference between singer and artist. Singers, people write the songs. And artists, they actually write the songs. They play the instruments. They come up with all of that stuff. So, I mean, you might have to say that's Prince. No doubt about that.
Prince.
You might have to, and either Prince or the Chi-Town legend.
Is Prince? Would you consider Prince more what? Rock and roll, more pop? What do they
Prince
call?
Prince was an R&B guy.
Prince
was an R&B guy. Yeah, Prince was an R&B guy.
I don't classify that as R&B.
He was a top 40 guy, though. He was a top 40 guy.
What Prince did is like soft rock type thing. I don't know,
man.
Maybe hard rock. I don't know what they call Prince. I don't know. But if I had to choose one, there's no doubt about it. My mind's telling me no. You might be locked up right now, but Kale's music is undefeated. That is the greatest. That is the king of R&B. No doubt about it.
There's plenty of people here today because of R. Kelly, because of his music.
Oh, no doubt. I'm one of them.
It's plenty of people here because of R. Kelly. No doubt about that. So
he said, I don't take woman advice from somebody who compares AD to the Diesel. I wasn't comparing Anthony Davis to Shaq.
What I was doing
was he should demand the ball more in this offense, because he's not only the best player offensively on the floor, he's the youngest and the most talented player, and he's in his prime, unlike a 32-year-old, 33-year-old Russell Westbrook, a 36-year-old LeBron James, who are the second and third best players on the team respectively. Anthony Davis is the one that should be putting up 30 if he's the guy that he says he is and that we all believe he is. He should do what Shaq did and aggressively call for the ball more. I didn't compare him to Shaq, man. Open your ears.
Not the same thing. Not the same thing,
man. Come on now.
I had Nash over Jason Kidd. You asking me who Nash or Jason Kidd? I had Nash over Jason Kidd, and I had him over Jason Kidd because he was in that offense that he was in. I don't think that Jason Kidd would have been as efficient as Nash was. I think Nash was a better point guard.
I think that's tough. Kidd has better all-time numbers, but Nash has better accolades because of those two MVPs that he got.
Yeah.
So if you're asking me who's the better player, I think Nash is the better player. But I think
Hmm.
I don't. It's kind of tough. It's tough. I don't know.
Yeah.
Neither one of them in my top 5, so it really don't matter.
Yeah. Best shooting
Let's
big
see.
man of all time.
Dirk.
Oh, yeah. Because I was thinking Ewing had a really good mid range game, but he didn't stretch the D like Dirk
No,
did.
Dirk.
No, he did
Dirk
not.
is
He
James
didn't stretch
Harden
the
or
D like
John
Dirk did.
Stockton. Better player, give me Harden. Better career, Stockton.
I can get with that logic.
Let's see. That was a new guy. Shout out to you, Grad TTV that asked that best shooting big man. A new viewer. Appreciate you stopping through, man. Last one. Who's the greatest actor ever? I give you my top 3 or top 4. I think the greatest actor to ever live is Denzel Washington, right? At 2, I got Leonardo DiCaprio. At 3, I got Tom Hanks. And at 4, I got Will Smith. That's my top
Yeah.
4 actors of all time.
The greatest actor to ever live. I can get that honor to Sidney Poitier. And then I think that Denzel, with the exception of Samuel L. Jackson, took that. I think Samuel L. Jackson and Denzel both took that honor because last I checked, it was in the movie. Well, I forgot the name. In the movie Ted, and the girl said she don't know who Samuel L. Jackson is, and my man said simply,
Wow.
think about every movie that's ever made. He's the black guy in it.
Right. See, look,
That
somebody questioned my Denzel take. They said Denzel question mark question mark question mark. I'm out. You must be a young cat and really don't know who Denzel Washington is. Look, here's
No,
my
you don't.
criteria when it comes to acting, right? I have a criteria that I go off of. Here's my criteria. If I can name you an actor and you can tell, if I say, Unc, I'm about to go watch a movie. Kevin Hart is the main character. You can pretty much, and I say, what kind of movie am I going to go watch?
Comedy.
Exactly, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I tell you, Unc, I'm about to go watch a movie. Mel Gibson is the star, or Arnold Schwarzenegger is the main actor of this movie. What kind of movie am I going to go watch?
Action,
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, if I told you I'm about to go watch a movie, Denzel is the star. What kind of movie am I watching?
You could get anything, yo. You could get a professor. You could get a bad guy.
That
you
is
could
the
get
that is the
a
criteria.
lover.
If you can tell me what type of movie it is before I go watch it, just off telling you who the star is, he's not top 5, my friend.
Yeah,
because he's
absolutely.
limited to a specific role. Top 5 guys are not limited to a specific role. You don't know what you're getting from Denzel. You don't know
Facts.
what you're getting from Leonardo DiCaprio. You don't know what you're getting from Will Smith. You don't know what you're getting from Tom Hanks. You can get Woody. Right. You can get a flight. You can get a guy that sits on the island and talks to a volleyball. You can get Forrest Gump. You can get anything. That's what makes the greatest actors of all time, if you asking me.
For me, it's and I'll end it here. But for me, what you got to do is you got to sell me that that's you.
Yeah.
That's what you got to sell me. You got to sell me that I forgot that was Denzel and that's him. So Alonzo in Training Day, I forgot that was Denzel.
Facts.
That's him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Samuel L. Jackson in Jungle Fever. I forgot that was Samuel L. Jackson. That's Gator, crackhead.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I forgot that. So that's what you got to do with me. You got to sell me the guy. That's him. And that's you synonymous with that guy. So absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But that wraps up the show, man. I appreciate y'all stopping through. If you coming in from YouTube, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you here live with us on Twitch, I appreciate y'all coming. Bits are always welcome. Gifted subs are always welcome. And y'all know we love y'all, man. Everybody that's up in here vibing with us, y'all can catch us on here live on Twitch every Tuesday night, every Friday night. If you missed the show, it will be on YouTube the following day. So this episode We'll be on YouTube tomorrow morning, somewhere around noon Central Time. W's in the chat. If you enjoyed yourself, take us home.
Take it light, but take it.